It is said that China has successfully tested the 6th-generation fighter jet. In the video, the J-20 flew as a wingman throughout the flight, revealing a lot of information. It is a delta-wing fighter, larger than the J-20. You should know that the J-20 is a circle larger than the F-22, which means that this fighter is likely to carry a higher bomb load and perform combat bombing missions rather than simply air combat. Judging from its tail layout, it uses a hidden flamethrower and is likely to be equipped with 3 engines. This means that the aircraft is likely to have a flight speed of 3 times the speed of sound and can easily achieve supersonic cruise. Because China's WS-15 has been maturely mass-produced, 2 WS-15s can provide superthrust, and the use of 3 indicates that the aircraft has higher requirements for speed. Its aerodynamic layout and built-in bomb bay show that this is a stealth fighter. In addition, its cockpit is obviously low, and the pilot's field of vision is sacrificed for the streamlined layout. It may pay more attention to penetration rather than competing for air supremacy. Or its cockpit is highly electronic and does not require the pilot to observe with the naked eye. In short, according to the analysis of mainland military experts and internet celebrity bloggers, this should be a fighter bomber with high-speed penetration properties. It may not be the 6th-generation air superiority fighter determined by China, but it should integrate China's most advanced military technology. The launch of this fighter means that the Western media's accusation that China is blindly copying and plagiarizing has become history. China has not only developed 2 5th-generation fighters, but also developed long-range stealth bombers similar to the B-21 and transport aircraft and early warning aircraft with the Y-20 as the carrier. Now China defines the next generation of fighters by itself because China has strong industrial capabilities and a completely independent industrial chain. It shows that the technological blockade of China by the United States and the West is meaningless. The standard of fighters defined by the West will become history. From now on, it is not China that is catching up with them, but they must learn to compete with China on the same stage and bear the pressure of failure. In fact, in the Russian-Ukrainian War and the Gaza War, all the warring parties purchased a large number of Chinese drones and parts and put them into the battlefield after modification. Chinese products are of high quality and low price, with rich choices and stable supply. The role played by traditional artillery, missiles, and tanks is rapidly declining. The battlefield of the future belongs to drones and robots. However, the frontline competition is only part of the war. Drones and robots will not go to the battlefield by themselves. They need strong delivery capabilities and logistical support capabilities. And their control range is only short-range exchanges of fire. To destroy large targets such as military bases and aircraft carriers, the role of traditional fighters and bombers is still irreplaceable. Therefore, in addition to developing frontline weapons and promoting unmanned operations, military powers such as the United States and China also attach great importance to strategic raid capabilities. The new generation of Chinese fighter bombers in the video, with its huge body, stealth design, and 3-engine layout, pursues high-speed stealth penetration. Calculated from the combat radius of the J-20, its combat radius is likely to reach an astonishing 3,000 kilometers. In extreme cases, if it is used as a penetration weapon and is not recovered, the range can reach about 6,000 kilometers. And with the support of aerial refueling aircraft, it can fully achieve intercontinental strikes. It should be pointed out that it is not a drone like the X-47B, it is a real manned super-large fighter bomber. China has recently launched a large number of warships, including large destroyers, frigates, submarines, and aircraft carriers. At the same time, the Army and Air Force are also rapidly advancing modernization in order to prevent the United States from taking the risk of going to war with China. Because the United States is becoming more and more passive in the national power competition with China, it is turning from an attacker to a defender. Once the high-end chip manufacturing technology it relies on is surpassed by China, its technological hegemony will collapse. The biggest reliance of the US dollar hegemony is its huge military power, And the foundation of military power is the U.S. technological hegemony. So when American politicians feel that they cannot win China in the technological war, they are likely to risk going to war with China. The best way is to provoke Taiwan's independence or create a war around China. China's army is strong, and its air force lags behind the United States to a certain extent, but it can fight. However, China's navy lags far behind the United States, and it is difficult to catch up in the short term. Therefore, China must develop a variety of asymmetric combat methods, such as space warfare, hypersonic missiles, and high-speed stealth penetration fighter bombers in the video. China has always been low-key in the development of military technology in the past to prevent Americans from paying too much attention and causing China to bear too much pressure. But now, China is no longer afraid of competing head-on with the United States in technology. China has much stronger industrial capabilities than the United States, the world's only full industrial chain, and more hardworking and intelligent engineers. In normal competition, China will never lose to the United States. No matter how hysterical Western politicians are, they cannot reverse it. China will definitely ascend to the throne of science and technology. But if the United States and Western countries go to war, it will be another matter. The United States has hundreds of military bases around the world and a large number of allies and quasi-allies. Once a war breaks out, China is likely to fall into a completely passive situation. But it is obviously impossible for China to bow to the United States and give up the right to develop. Therefore, China's strategy is not to win the war with the United States, but to ensure that there are enough means to destroy the United States and form the same balance of terror between the United States and the Soviet Union during the Cold War. This level of guaranteed destruction is higher than that of the Soviet Union. Even without using nuclear weapons, the United States can be destroyed by conventional force or defeated in a local war. The level of war is for Americans to choose, and the Chinese will accompany. The United States' foreign policy has always been a carrot and a stick, but this treatment is for powerful countries. If a country is weak and vulnerable, then the Americans will only have a stick in their hands, no carrot. Since the disintegration of the Soviet Union, the United States has long been the world's only superpower, leading many American politicians and American military officers to be overconfident and believe that the United States is invincible. It is very necessary for China to show its force appropriately. China can openly start an arms race with the United States. Anyway, the price of China's equivalent weapons is only 1/10 of that of the United States, or even lower. Let's see if the industrial capacity of the United States can still support a head-on competition with China. Not only weapons, China must also vigorously develop space technology, constantly try to conquer the Moon and Mars, and force the Americans to fight a war of attrition with China. China's authoritarian system is very effective in highly competitive situations, and the peaceful state has more hidden dangers. Therefore, China needs an imaginary enemy more than the United States, constantly creating new battlefields and new areas of competition, so that the United States can increase its investment and compete head-on with China, and then use China's talent advantages and industrial advantages to completely defeat the United States. Let it accept the fact of China's rise and live in peace with China. If Chinese only think about peaceful development, we will be plotted against by the Americans sooner or later. And the Soviet Union is an example. At the beginning, the United States relied on its productivity advantage to drag down the Soviet Union. Today, China also lets the United States experience what the Industrial Revolution and the technological tsunami are. I also hope that Americans can understand that Wall Street and Silicon Valley cannot support a superpower. From now on, study mathematics, physics, and chemistry hard. Maybe it's not too late.